Hi, Jack. How are you?
Very well, yourself?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. So, look, let me just tell everybody who's joining us today. So, today I'm joined by Jack Visick. So, Jack is the owner and also co-owner of multiple businesses, mainly in hospitality, food and beverage industry, but also tech as well. So thanks for joining us today, Jack. And look, why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit more about, your businesses?
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for the intro there, Simon. So yeah, as you said, I sort of co-founded a few different things. My main project at the moment is a brand called Need, Need, which we are essentially a coffee brand, but we are becoming a little bit more than that. And there's more of a sort of founding story behind it, which involves a TV show and whatever else. But we
So
made
I've got to introduce. I've got to stop there you a second there, Jack. So I read up about this. So you and your partner were
yeah.
the winners of a Channel 4 program called Double Your Money. Have I got that
Oh,
right?
yeah, double the money, yeah.
Double the money.
Yeah.
And also you won by quite a significant margin as well, didn't you?
We did, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It only got one series, so I don't know if it's coming back to the TV. But yeah, it was a sort of six episode show where you had to double your money in a different business each time. It was pretty real. It was real time. It was pretty raw. So we generally had to do it. There was no help. And then yeah, we created the brand within the show. And we were going for I mean, we're selling coffee. We're forced not forced to sell coffee, but there were a lot of different business ideas we wanted to do. When we were given the 10 grand in the morning, we had to quickly decide what we're going to do. Channel 4 had to sign off the idea, and then we had to just to go for it. So we wanted to create a brand that people could resonate with, that had sort of a bit of a story and could have an experience tied alongside of it. Because anyone could just sell coffee or anyone can sell a product these days, but you've got to have you've got to have a story, you've got to have personality, and you've got to be able to have something tangible that people can experience. So um, yeah, we sold like 5,000 bags of coffee in a couple of weeks. We got in some nice premium coffee collections and clubs, and now we had some good PR off the back of it, but we've had to sort of rebuild the brand and work on the foundations a lot over the last year. So we have a couple of sites which sort of like extension of the brand, so people can come and get the whole look and touch and feel. I'm actually in one at the moment. Um, so so yeah, yeah, we had a bit of winnings, which didn't go as far as we'd like it to,
Yeah.
but made it, made it work. So yeah, so that's with my fiance, Natalie, who is great. She's very hands-on. She's a great personality. She's very intelligent, very shrewd, and a great partner to be with, really. Um, so, but behind that, I've got a small chain of pubs, hotels, as well.
Yeah.
Sort of under a brand called Cole and Co. We have a hotel down in Bramber, which is actually being featured on Hotel Inspector.
Wow.
We're filming the final episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
So watch out for it. We picked it up off a guy who was selling it, who'd had it for like 18 years with his family. With everything that's happened in the last couple of years, hospitality, cost of goods gone up, cost of living gone up, labor gone up, people's spending habits changing. Hospitality is a very tricky world to be in, and he was really struggling. So we picked that up and I presented it to the TV show. I actually asked for help because I was like, wow, I've got this thing now, and I generally needed help from Alex Polizzi, who's the what's it
The
called? The
hotel
maker.
inspector.
The hotel inspector, of course,
Yeah.
yeah. And she's
Because her babackground is what Hilton, isn't it? I think.
well, she's part of the Forte
Yeah. Oh,
family
Forte. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
who've got lots of hotels, and she has her couple of hotels as well. One of which is the in Alfriston called the Star.
Yeah.
Don't know if you know it. Great hotel. So yeah, so I gave them a video and gave them a look around, and they casted me and my partner pretty quickly because it was pretty horrific state. Things were falling off the walls,
Yeah.
the color schemes. It was dire,
Mm.
pretty embarrassing. So we were genuinely a good case for her to come in. So she tore us apart. We've done a bit of work on it, and we do a bit of a relaunch on Thursday. So
Well, I'm definitely going to look out for that as well. So, um, so Jack, look, I would go as far as saying you're a serial entrepreneur. Okay, you know, there's a lot of things that you've been involved in. Is it? I mean, you've had things, the coffee station, Bootopia, Plateful.
yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned the pubs, that, need drinks as well. Um, so when did all this start? I mean, when you were younger, did you want to be a business owner? How did it all start out?
My father has always been in business. In fact, he comes from the motor trade where they have a garage within the trade. It's been going 140 years, four generations. And I think growing up around him being in business and working all the time, and then surrounded by that in the early days, he got me into work quite quickly. I was doing several different paper rounds and other jobs from the age of 13. When I was 16, 17, I had like 5 different jobs and somehow was attending college. And then I actually stopped it all and went in to do ski seasons. So I was up the mountains, living the dream, and then on the beaches in the summer. And I did relatively well within that industry. And I was around hotels and chalets particularly. And I was pretty good at what I was doing. I was good at upselling to guests because I believed in the product and I was knowledgeable of it, and knew that there was actual value there. So I did quite well and gave people good experiences, got good reviews. But in my last season, I had an accident, broke my foot in a few different places, so I had to come back to the UK. And interesting story, about a week or two after being back in the UK, I signed a agreement on a closed down backstreet pub when I was 21. Didn't really know what I was doing, didn't know what I had sort of signed up for, what I was personally liable for. And I remember the first night I opened, I had people threatening me. There was knives pulled on me, bricks through the windows. I remember my dad turned up looking pale. I remember it really clearly, wondering what the hell I was up to. Um, and I think I was very lucky. I became a man very, very quickly. And I actually turned it around and made it to a music venue. I was only 21 when I signed the lease. Yeah, and I made it quite a success of it, and that's where I kind of learned the skills of business. And when I say that, I think I made more failures and more mistakes during those years, which helped. You still make them now every day in business. You're learning something new. But yeah, that was definitely a steep learning curve that kind of gave me the fundamentals for business, for hospitality. And then I kind of grew hospitality from then on. I found some opportunity in events, mobile event work, and I then got a 3-story multi-venue. I built everything quite quickly and then lost it all.
Wow.
Didn't really know, didn't just have that many business skills or good sort of accounts acumen really, and didn't save when you needed to save. Um, when your bank had money in it, you'd go and spend it on stuff you really should have saved it to buy the important bits and bobs.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where it kind of started, really. Yeah, and a kitchen. I did start in a kitchen when I was sort of 15, 16. And I do believe that whether you go into the army or you go into hospitality or something like that, you need something early on to help you become regimented and actually give you a bit of to know what it's really like to work and work hard.
Some discipline, some structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of actually when you say the army, the kitchens, things like that. There's a lot of processes and systems, isn't there, for both of those type of things, and I think that's really important as well. But also having that in both of those as well, using initiative.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you've got to be able to create great things. In the kitchen, you've got to be able to, and sometimes actually try different things. Same in the army, you've got to be able to think on your feet because you could be in different situations. But you follow the processes and systems to get you there. So, oh, okay, well, by the way, thanks for explaining that background. I mean, that's great. You certainly threw yourself in the deep end there. So other than sort of signing this lease at 21 and those experiences that you had there, what would you say has been your biggest challenge that you've faced as a business owner?
Yeah. I knew you were going to ask that, and it's really difficult. I think the biggest challenge really, and I found all the way, and even now, is priorities and where you put your energy.
Okay.
Because you only have a certain amount of hours in the day. You only really have a certain amount of productive time to do things. I've got a bit of ADHD as well. We all have. But when it comes to shiny objects and trying to just get jobs done, I could have a hyper focus hour of about an hour of getting a lot done, whereas I could sometimes go a few days or a week where I end up focusing on completely the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it's often like having a plan, having direction, having none of that, and you're just treading water a lot of the time. And I think that has A, been a challenge, and B, making sure there's enough cash flow to stay afloat, really, particularly in hospitality where the margin is super low. You don't have a buffer, you don't have a cushion.
Yeah.
So you have to be really, really particular and tight on numbers the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
and in terms of your, how do you overcome that? Because you're absolutely right. Time. First of all, time. There's, I always say the first lesson of time is there's never enough of it. Okay, you've got to accept there's never enough time. So how do you manage your time?
I don't think I do. I don't
Okay.
think I don't think I do it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could, safely say that that is what I definitely need to work on. And I'm trying. I mean, I tried last week to put an afternoon off in my diary and got to the morning and already I'd lost that afternoon off. So, and that's my own fault, but I, it's definitely hard. I have obviously several different sites. I've got management teams on the pub side. I then have the brand that I work with my partner. I've got a few other tech interests that we're constantly building. On top of that, every day there's a new idea that I have to try and like put to the side. Otherwise, I'm online. I've already created a domain. I've started building something in Replit. I want to give it to a friend to test to see if it's got legs. I think there's a guy called Rob Moore who's actually in property, and he always talks about compartmentalizing your
Mm.
days and your weeks, and I think that is what I need to do. So to answer that question, I don't believe I am very good at balancing time. Um,
Well,
if it,
I like what you sort of said there, Jack, because look, there's going to be people watching this that and listening to this, and I like that you're open and honest there. You've sort of said, look, no, actually, it's an area that you need to improve and develop on, and you've got an awareness of that. And I think the point there is that you mentioned it earlier as well. Nobody's perfect. There's always things that we need to continue to work on, and it's actually having the awareness of that and saying, right, okay, I need to develop those areas. And the reason I thank you for sharing that is because often other business owners look at people like yourself and other sort of successful business owners and go, oh, they've got it made, they've got it all worked out, they've got it, they know what they're doing, and how do they do it? But actually, you've been very open and honest there and gone, no, actually, there's things I need to work on here, hopefully that gives other people confidence that, yeah, not everybody's perfect. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And look, you mentioned earlier that I really sort of picked up on and liked. You mentioned about, with needs. You mentioned about the story. How important do you think it is in a business to have a story behind what you do? Because it's not, like you've got the product, you've got the service, you've got the marketing, but how important is it to have that story?
it's whether it's a story or something people can believe in
Mm,
and relate to is the kind of same thing there. And I
mm,
think that's how you build a brand.
mm,
People buy from people, usual kind of thing. But to actually get people to believe in something and come along for the ride you've got to be honest about it, and there's got to be something legitimate there. You know, someone's getting not if Mr. Jones came and tried selling me some coffee that he bought from Uganda or whatever, said it's really nice. Yeah, yeah, great. But if, someone came to me and said how they've been, the stories behind where they've had to go to get it, they can trace it from crop to cup. As a business, they're trying to help locally and they're trying to be sustainable and they're giving back to the community and with the profits with, that I know that's just a lot of jargon there that everyone can use, but I think brand more than ever is important, and a brand does need to have personality and a story.
Yeah, look, the reason I highlight it, and actually, funny enough, it's one of my favourite books. I'm actually going to share it now. I don't know whether you've read this.
No.
Great book, that by Donald Miller, and I've actually heard him. I've heard him speak in person, and he says exactly that. What you've just sort of said, that how important it is to have a brand, a story behind the brand. It's not just about having the best products or the best service, or it's about having a story that people get, that they buy into, that resonates with them. And that's why it rang so true when you were sort of saying it to me, because let's face it, there's loads of coffee companies out there, isn't there? You've got a massive amount of competition. Now, the way that you can be successful is to differentiate yourself from others. And how can you do that? With having a great brand and a great story behind that brand.
And it's how they remember you, I think, is also something that people often forget. Like we've got a few pubs, and I've had more, but they haven't always worked. But now we've built pubs up around not marketing that much. We've just literally gone on reputation and consistency.
Yeah.
And we try to make sure that the last dish, the last plate, or the last thing you hear from someone serving you is a way to remember them.
Yeah.
It's only now really that we're trying to build brand around each of the sites to have a whole user journey that aligns with what we're trying to do, aligns with the pub's mission, aligns with the pub's values, so that you can retarget them afterwards. They know the experience they've had. They want to have it again because they can remember it. Whereas what you don't want to do is put all the effort in. They come in, you give them a great service or a great product, and then it's done. It's finished. The experience is something to remember. The brand is what generally will help bring that.
Yeah, that even makes me think of another book that by a gentleman called Michael Heppel. I think it's called 5-Star Service. And again, in that, it's talking about the experience that you've just sort of said, how you can make it a very a special experience for people that wants to make them come back and talk to other people about it. And actually, you create this group of people that just want to tell other people about the great experience they've had with you.
Yeah.
They're called raving fans.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, I love it. So what's been your biggest learning since you've been in business, Jack?
No one's going to come and help you. No one's going to save you. I think,
Okay.
you've got to just own it. You can't blame anyone else. And it's not, it doesn't just get better. Nothing actually gets fixed without you doing something about it. You can't just sit there or go and hide or hope that the brown letters go away or your phone stops ringing. You just have to go and make a decision and do it. It's hard, but you've got to have the awkward conversation. Behind that awkward conversation is always something positive. Behind that awkward phone call, there's always something positive, and I think more than ever, I'm a believer. I'm a bit of a believer like that.
Like, what a cool thing to share, because you look. I think the thing is, out there's people out there that can help you. That you can, other business owners that have been there, seen it, done it, whatever. But they can't do it for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I picked up from what you sort of said there. You've got to take action.
Yeah,
you can listen to other people, but learn things, but it's down to you to take the action. And that, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think that's a really great share. And and look, what advice would you give other business owners? What would you say to other business owners that either were starting out on business or having challenging times, or what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would start small.
Yeah.
If you've got something, test it. Don't, I always agree with going all in. I always agree with taking the risk, particularly if you're young and you've got time and you can do it, like you can afford to do that. But um, if you don't try, you're never going to know.
Yeah.
And I also get fed up with people just constantly telling you they've got all these ideas and they're going to do this and they're going to do this and it never happens. I'd rather at least hear that they tried, and failed and admitted they failed and then tried again. So yeah, I think you've got an idea and you really believe in it, build a little concept, check with your family and friends and see if it's worth doing. Test the market first. I've been in tech a little bit. We've got several apps and we're building a couple of big platforms at the moment. And in the early days, we've had to pivot so many times because you go out, we spend nights, hours, days building something that we think is going to work, and even throwing loads of money at something like that. And you get it to the market, and there's just no use case for it, or there's no actual real problem. You can't just, if you can create a market, then you're winning. But we're not Bill Gates here. You've generally got to try if you're trying to solve a problem. You've got to get open. You've got to ask people. You've got to test the market. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It does absolutely answer my question in terms of, yeah, look, absolutely key point is, and actually, I think that answers both to people going into business and people that might have challenges in their existing business is understand your market. Do your market research. What is it that people want? What is the problem that people need solving? And focus on that. And then, yeah, I always, I always say, I was taught this years ago, which is the two most important words in business are test and measure. Test it and measure the results.
Yeah.
And if it works, great. Then you can do more and do more and do more. If it doesn't work, okay, it's not so bad. So
Yeah.
test and measure. So great share.
Yeah, I like that. I think what I try and people ask me for advice. I don't always know why. But one thing I think at the moment, particularly in hospitality, is I'm trying to, with a couple of people, we're trying to build a couple of solutions that help people in hospitality, because that's generally what I've been in. And I do feel like my kind of mission at the moment is to try and help other people in hospitality, particularly why it is such a tough time. I think we've had 220 pubs close already this year. We've got Plateful, which you mentioned earlier, is a sort of a platform which brings the power back into the SMEs and the small time cafe owners and restaurant and bar owners, where they don't have the time. And I've been there and I'm there to do all of the admin, the marketing, they're trying to push their business. They just want to get in there and do what they do well.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've built a selection of marketing tools where the business can plug in. There's scheduling tools in there. There's content creation tools. There's loyalty cards and all sorts in the pipeline. We've got a bit of a sustainability thing as well, but it's just trying to build systems and platforms to help other people in hospitality make money and get their life back. I'm also working on something called Chef Pantry, which is why at the moment, and I don't know if do you have many people in hospitality listen to this?
Yeah, no, definitely. There's all from all industries. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, at the moment, there's a major chef shortage.
Yeah.
Good chef shortage. And people out there are making silly money on agencies where I used to have it, not anymore, but I used to have to go to an agency. I need a chef. I don't really get a say of who I get. I just pay a ridiculous fee to get them. I then pay a ridiculous fee on top. And then sadly, the restaurant next door to me probably gets the guy the next week. And he's just, so we're building a bit of a platform where, and it's already in use, where it's sort of, there's a zero fees, zero commissions platform where chefs can be connected with venues. You can rate and review them. You can pay within the platform. It takes care of all of the admin and invoicing and stuff, so the chefs don't have to worry too much. We're even we're going to be working with the Burnt Chef project, so we've got some giving back to people within the industry. And that, again, those people that don't have the money to pay for commission fees or can't afford to have a chef who they've never worked with before, never known someone to work with, come in and destroy their business in a week, because it doesn't take long after a few bad reviews for it to spiral completely out of control. So yeah, I'm sort of just a bit of a mission at the moment to help myself, but also help other people within the industries just be a bit better and get through.
You know, your passion for what you do is really coming out there, Jack, and not, you know, not just from a business perspective, but from a community perspective as well. So, Jack, look, there's one question I really like to ask everybody that's kind enough to join me on this, and the question is this: what's the best advice that you would give to an 18-year-old you? So, if you could go and speak to yourself when you were 18, what would you say to yourself?
Similar to what I said earlier about take the risk, back yourself, but also don't get cocky, because I can't remember who wrote this, but the future you will be very different to your current you. Someone said that. I don't know who said that, or something like that. Or the person who's going to take you there requires someone else to then take you further. As in, you've got to evolve, you've got to learn, you've got to get better. You don't know it all. Yeah. So yeah, I think evolve, listen to your peers, listen to the people above you. Just work really hard.
Yeah. It is a combination of learning and doing, isn't it? Really is.
Oh, there it is. The person who got you here isn't the one who's going to take you further.
Yeah, there's a phrase that I like, which is very similar to that, which is what got you here won't get you there.
I think that's the one.
Yeah. I think it was Marshall Goldsmith, I think, that said that. What got you here won't get you there. So, yeah, and then the other one that came to mind when you were saying that was do something today that your future self will thank you for.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. It's very easy to get caught up. I think I've just coming out of a bit of a 10-year stint of just pure overwhelm, work, driving for something I'm not even sure what it was, just caught in the hamster wheel. I'm just reaching that point now where I now know that I have to change things or change my outlook in order to progress further.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. We go through various stages that, yeah, we have to do that. So, well, look, thank you for everything you've shared today. And I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and share more about your business, but also your journey as well. So thank you very much, Jack.
No, thank you. I appreciate you asking me to come on, and I look forward to hopefully us two catching up and a bit of mentorship from you to me in the future.